Hi y'all, welcome back to the Ravenclaw Queen. We're gonna do another Maniac Monday episode. This is gonna be the last video where I'm kind of telling my story and getting out all of the major things that have happened with my mental health. This video is gonna start from August 2022. I'm gonna jump right into it because I don't want to keep you guys here long. I noticed, because YouTube has a stats thing that I can look at, and I noticed that people are not watching the full video. So I'm gonna try to make this one like 20 minutes. So you could turn it on while you do something, or you can just play it while you're in the car. I don't know, whatever you do, think of it as like a podcast. This is why I do the Maniac Mondays, like me just talking, because if I'm doing something and you have to actually look at me, I feel like that makes it harder to watch. However, I feel like more people watched my Get Ready With Me, or at least watched it longer than they did the talking video. So I'm definitely gonna do another Get Ready With Me type video, but definitely comment below or message me what you like to see the most, because I'm gonna have different videos, of course. It's not just gonna be Maniac Monday. But yeah, so this video, we're starting from August 2022. So in August, I started a job at a bank. I won't say the bank because I don't really want to talk about that, but it's not really important. What you need to know is I was working downtown, or uptown Charlotte. Nice offices, the whole 9 yards of a corporate job. I was working in their trade area, so I was working with trade contracts. I wasn't writing contracts, which would have been cool, but I was just helping facilitate getting the signatures for them. And it was just a 3-month contract position, so it wasn't like I was going to be doing that forever type thing. So yeah, I got recruited by a staffing agency, so then I started there. I was really excited about the job because I love the corporate vibes of going to work in the city, being able to walk to places for lunch, getting coffee in the morning, all of that. Now I will say at this time I was obsessed with getting the apple oat milk macchiato from Starbucks before, we boycott Starbucks. So free Palestine. But at that time though, this was 2022, I was eating Starbucks every day. And this is important to remember because, like I said, now that I know they have bipolar disorder, there's different health things that also come with that. So me drinking so much caffeine and all that sugar that was in those drinks, and I was drinking soda. I wasn't working out. Only workout or exercise I got was walking up in the city, really. So yeah, so that wasn't good. So yeah, I was doing a lot of just drinking caffeine, sugar, and not working out. I wasn't taking my medicine at this point. At the time, remember, I was on I don't know, I think I had switched from Lexapro at this point. So I had Wellbutrin, I remember, which is a depression med, I think. So yeah, I wasn't taking anything though. Then I was also having problems with my ex. We tried going to couples therapy, that didn't work. We tried I think I might have moved back in for a little bit and then I moved out. I don't really remember. But yeah, we were trying things and it just wasn't working. And then something triggered me. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was from, I know around this time, so Beyonce Renaissance had dropped in July, I think. So I was still bumping that. The music is important to this story because the music had started to get to my head. So I was listening to Beyonce a lot. I was listening to Megan Thee Stallion a lot. She dropped Traumazine, I think either in August or September. And then I was listening to Moneybagg Yo a lot, which I had already been listening to these people, but it was just certain people I listened to a lot. And then y'all know that song Back In by he basically say when they do it's okay, but when I do it's a problem. So that song was really getting to me. And then Kevin Gates, I'm a big Kevin Gates fan, but it was a lot of street music that I hadn't really been listening to as much anymore. But then I kind of went back to it. I don't know why. And then I started to get very in my feelings about things that have happened in my past. So I started tweeting a lot because Twitter has always been a safe space to me because I don't really have a lot of family on my Twitter and I don't really have a lot of followers on Twitter either. So I could just say whatever. And the Twitter is also fun because you can tweet and tag celebrities and they might respond back. So So yeah, I would do that. Like lyrics, like song lyrics, I tweet it. And then like one time Janae Echo actually tweeted me back too. So it was just like random things I love to do. So then fast forward to like September from August, I'm just tweeting a bunch. Like I'm talking about stuff that happened to me when I was in high school. Like I had a sexual assault experience when I was in Myrtle Beach for senior week, and then something happened my freshman year of college. So I was talking about those things like openly on there. I was talking about the abortion with my ex. Like I was just saying all the stuff that was bad, and like the people that knew what happened to me that didn't do anything, or like the people that did stuff to me, I was like, oh, I would like do things to them. Like I'm not gonna say, I don't know how YouTube like censors stuff, so I'm not gonna say what I was saying, but I'll just say like, if you're bored ever, try to find the Ravenclaw Queen. It's, my Twitter is still active. That Twitter, I have a new Twitter now, but it's a picture of Powerpuff Girl because I love that Powerpuff. So yeah. But if anyone who had my Twitter at that time, y'all know I was tweeting like crazy. I was tweeting in the Twitter circle, like I was sharing everything. And then one day I typed up this whole like narrative on my notes, like on my phone, of what happened like in detail to me when I was in Myrtle Beach, because I had kind of blocked those memories. I don't know if you guys ever had a trauma where you've blocked like the memory of it, but I do that a lot. Like certain things I block the memory because I just don't want to think about it. But it was kind of like everything was coming out, and I realized I was like not okay. And I remember breaking down crying, like ugh. Like I didn't go to work the next day because of that, I think, like, and I wasn't sleeping. So this is where we get into like the mental episode. So I hadn't slept for 3 days. So just imagine like my adrenaline is going. I've been tweeting, I've been typing my notes, I was getting into it with my friends about stuff. Like they could tell you too, like I was like, there was a whole situation, but I'll talk about that in a different video. But if I even talk about it, because it doesn't matter now. If you want to know, for like people that may be bipolar as well, like getting well, like balanced sleep and like all that is very important to like, your mental, like literally any health thing you can think of. You want to make sure you're on your P's and Q's, because something like not sleeping can trigger psychosis, which I went into psychosis, which I might insert what that is, or I might explain it in another video. But it's basically where your mind, like your psyche, whatever they call it, you're not in reality. Like everything is warped, basically. Like you're in Twilight Zone or some shit. Excuse my language. But so basically, I like the description though. It's like Twilight Zone because nothing makes sense. So like, for example, in the beginning of this, I was believing, like I had started to think to myself that I was a rapper. So some of these tweets I was making, I was like spitting like bars.
Yeah, we fucking up that permit. If you wanna fuck it up, then you can come and get with us. But if you don't know what the fuck you got,
and I was tagging other rappers that like inspired me, like Lil Durk, who else did I tag? I tagged like Lil Durk, Waka Flocka Flame. Like I was just tagging all these people. And then I remember I tagged Waka Flocka because he has this song called Live by the Gun, Die by the Gun. And I was literally talking about like suicide. Like even though his song isn't necessarily like him saying he's gonna kill himself, it was more of just like he's so invested in like his street culture, whatever, that he would die if he had to. So yeah, like it was just a lot. So then my tweets transferred over from just tweets to me posting on Instagram and Facebook, because at that point I had become like, in my mind, another part of like bipolar delusion is you become like on top of the world. Like I literally like from me working at the bank, I started to feel myself more like, ooh, like I'm gonna move up in this job, like I'm gonna be a better person, I'm gonna make the most money. Like it was like, part of that was, I guess that was good delusion, but then there's bad delusion. So I remember the night before I ended up going to the hospital, I had posted a lot of things on Facebook. My mom saw, and she just like very concerned. My dad was concerned. Like everybody that knows me like personally in my life was concerned. Because I was just saying like basically what I was saying on Twitter, but like I started this thing where
I didn't say incomplete sentences. I was posting like emojis because I had made up in my mind that street code was like not answering if you don't want to. So like Kevin Gates has this song called what is that song called? I can't remember the name of the song, but he's talking about like living by the code and not talking, like basically not being a snitch, but like also like keeping like just stuff to yourself. So I kind of was like absorbing that in a way, and I was like, oh well, if somebody asks me a question, I'm gonna give the shortest answer possible. And then on Facebook, I was like, I'm not even gonna give words, I'm just gonna put emojis. So I would have like one word and then emojis, and then like, but I was using emojis to make like sentences. Like it was just crazy. And then I was shouting out like teachers from high school on Facebook. It was just crazy. And then one of my last Facebook posts that I made, I was like, kill them, like the K. I don't want to say, because I don't know if we could say that on here. I'm pretty sure you can. But anyway, so I basically was like referencing the Klan and saying like, I killed them with my like rap bars, which was just bizarre. Like, why would I reference them, even if it was not really in reference to them? But why would I say like I killed it, like white people killing black people? Like, why would I say that? Anyway, it was, like I said, I was not in my right mind. So that night, my mom, she kind of like asked me like, what's going on? Like, why are you posting so much? Mind you, I was also still doing my master's. So I completed my master's of business. I don't know if I said that in another video, but clap for me. I have my master's of business in banking and finance from California Intercontinental University. Anyway, so I was working on that at the time, and she was like, you need to be focused on doing your homework, because I had a paper due that Sunday. So like, keep in mind, this was a Sunday that my mom told me this. So like during that day, Sunday, I was working on that paper like for some hours, but I still hadn't slept like 2 or 3 days prior. So just keep that in mind. So I go to like a Starbucks to do work on my paper because I wanted coffee because I hadn't slept basically. And I had no desire to sleep either. Like I knew I hadn't slept, but I just said, whatever. So I went, worked on the paper. I can't remember if I finished it or not. And then I came home and like laid down, and then I didn't sleep though. Like I just couldn't sleep. So then that night, my mom gave me some sleep medicine that she had, and I like woke up at like 2 in the morning or like 1 in the morning, and then I start like freaking out because I don't know, like I tried to grab my phone, I think, and like look at my phone, and it like woke my mom up. When I like opened up my phone, like the light came on, and she's like a very light sleeper. Oh yeah, I was sleeping in the bed with her, mind you, because I'm kind of a big kid. So like when I'm going through it, I might sleep in her bed with her. But anyway, so she was like, you need to put your phone away. And like, she tried to take my phone. And then that's how this whole thing started. So she started taking my phone, and I started going like, no, like, da, 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 like, I have something to say. Like, I wanted to like make another post or something. And she was like, it's 3 or 2 in the morning. So then my dad wakes up, and he's like, what's going on? So I tell him that mom won't understand because she's not from like where you're from, which if you know my dad, he's not from the hood or anything, but he's from the country, and they're more like, I guess they're more about protecting, you know, their family, and like very like, I don't know what the word would be, but like very community minded. My mom's from Columbia, like the city part, which I mean, she's also family oriented, community minded too, but I was not like in my right mind. But I didn't think she would understand the whole like street code part because she didn't listen to the same type of music that me and my dad listened to. So that's where I really was pointing out that she would understand that. So then my dad, he's like, you know what, let's go for a ride. So it was like 2 in the morning. Me and my dad get in the car. We drive around, like we go up to Charlotte, like on the interstate. Like we're just like, he's talking, and I'm kind of just like doing the thing where I'm like, I answer, but not like a full sentence, because I'm like, I don't have to answer if I don't want to type thing. So then we get back to the house. Maybe it was like an hour past. And then my mom is like up, and she's like, she's like concerned. She's like, you need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, for what? Like, I don't want to go to the hospital. Like, they're just gonna, you know, like say that I'm crazy and all this, because I had already been in 2 different psych wards basically, so I didn't want to go back. And like I said, I could talk more about how I felt like I was treated there, but I just didn't feel like they actually saw me for who I was, like in totality. They saw me as just someone who had tried to hurt themselves. Like, they didn't really look at me as like, oh, this girl's a graduate, she has a lot of family supporting her, she has friends. Like, they didn't really see me outside of that, because they didn't know my personality or anything. They just knew that I was like suicidal basically. So I felt like I would rather be at home if I'm gonna like get through this basically. So then she's like, no, you need to go to the hospital. And then I get like upset, because I'm like, Mom, did you not even read like what I posted? Like, I was just trying to like emphasize to her, like, I'm going through it right now, because I'm I'm remembering everything that happened to me. Like, I'm really upset, because the people who know about what happened in Myrtle Beach have never been, you know, questioned. Like my mom didn't even know that I was like sexually assaulted until then, because what happened wasn't like discussed with her. But there were other like chaperones there, because it was a trip that I went on with my church basically. Anyway, so I was telling her all that, and she was like, well, I did read what you posted, and it was just a lot, da, da, da. And then I got really mad with my dad, because he was like, well, I didn't read that. I don't think I need to read that. Like, he was just being very like, because he doesn't get on social media like that. So he was like, well, I didn't know I had to read nothing and all this. So then I'm like, well, I'm calling, I think I called my Aunt Tracy, and it's like I said, it's like 3 a.m, so like no one's answering. Like, I'm calling her, I call my Aunt Trish, I call my Aunt Tammy, I call Brooke, my best friend Brooke, because Brooke lives around the corner. So I literally was just gonna walk over there, even though I had a car. But they were like, well, you don't need to be driving, you haven't slept, like, you're not okay, da da da. And then I just tried to leave. Like, I went upstairs, grabbed like a few things, and I was like, I'm leaving. So then my dad is like blocking the door, and then we kind of get in a altercation. So then my mom or my dad, one of them, called police. So then police come, they bring like their like emergency team or whatever. And then they're like, do you want to go to jail or do you want to go to the hospital? And of course I said hospital, because like, but I ended up riding in the police car, because I didn't want to ride with my parents, because I was mad at them. Which, when I think about it, was so dumb, because like, why did I do that? Anyway, so then now we're gonna get into me being in the hospital and like how that went. So basically I get there, and I am confused as to like what I'm like checking myself into for basically. So since I wasn't suicidal, I was just like, they saw me as being like violent because I tried to fight my dad. They were like, well, we have to take you back. So they like took my phone, made me like take my clothes off, all the same stuff they do in the other psych wards basically. But in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I'll go in the back, they'll like give me an exam, and if I explain to them like I'm not suicidal, then they'll let me go. I'll go to my grandma's house, or I'll go to my aunt's house, like one or the other. That never happened. I entered in the hospital September like 26th. I left October 28th. So I'm not gonna say which hospital it is for this video, because I don't want this to be like a thing. I mean, maybe later if like enough people care, then maybe I'll tell people, but just know that it wasn't the other hospitals. Like, I had been in Davidson before, I had been in Kings Mountain. Those were in North Carolina, this was in South Carolina. So that's the difference. So, because things were different. So I'm in the hospital. I end up, you know, having to go to the psych ward floor. I think they put me to sleep actually, because I think I told them that I hadn't slept, and then I was like really like angry. So I was kind of like cursing, like I was rapping, talking to people at the same time. Like, I was just not okay. So they put me to sleep. I wake up, and it's so weird, because I'm pretty sure the psychiatrist that came into my room the morning when I woke up is the same lady who was at Davidson. Like, she looked exactly like her. And she was just talking to me. Like, she didn't give me like an exam or anything. She was just talking to me. And then I ended up going like upstairs to like where the psych floor is. And the first like 3 or 4 days was just it's literally a blur. Like, I remember laying on the bathroom floor. I remember just feeling sick. I remember them coming in to take my blood, and I'm like, I don't want to give them my blood because I'm scared, like, what they're going to do with it. Like, I was having delusions that I had been, like, sex trafficked. Like, I didn't realize the first few days that I was even in a hospital. But it would come in, like, bouts, if that makes sense. So, like in the beginning, it was like, oh no, like, I don't know where I'm at. Like, all these strange people are trying to, like, touch me and look at me, because they have to do, like, a body scan before you come in, and they, like, take note of your tattoos. Like, they take note of everything, because I think it's like, I mean, nurses, whatever, y'all can comment on this, but I think it's just to make sure that we don't have any, like, major differences from the hospital. I'm not exactly sure why they do that, but so I just felt very, like, weird and, like, exposed. Like I said, I was in psychosis this whole time, so, like, everything that I'm thinking is, like, over exaggerated. So then I remember meeting the doctor. I don't remember exactly when I met him. Shout out to him though. Like, even though in the beginning it was rough, in the end, like, he was that man. But so mind you, he's a white man, and I have to go in this room with him, and they like, oh, he was like, oh, you can shut the door, and I'm like, no, I'm not shutting the door, because, like, in my head I'm like, he's a threat. Like, I literally thought he was a K clan member, because I had made that post on Facebook. So I think in my brain, like, psychosis, it'll take one little thing from your brain that was already there, and it'll turn it into a whole, like, scenario, basically. So I'm thinking, oh no, he's gonna try to hurt me or whatever, like, just crazy. So he ends up not being my doctor. Like, I don't remember when the switch happened, but then they put me with this woman. It was this Indian woman. I think they thought I'd be more comfortable with a woman, but then I started to suspect her too. I thought she was also a KKK, but, like, I didn't mean to say that, but whatever. I thought she was a part of the problem as well. And then they had this other woman who was like, I don't know what she was, but anyway, she would come in the meetings at the same time. I don't know if they thought that would help you feel more comfortable, but it just made it worse, because I was like, oh, now it's 2 against 1. But anyway, so the first few days or first week was kind of like a blur. Like, I remember like not wanting to eat. Like, I was struggling to sleep, and they were trying to force me to take medicine, which I don't know how they were administering it. Like, I remember taking pills, like, eventually, but I don't know in the beginning, like, if they were giving me pills, because I don't remember taking them. But I was definitely a problem. But anyway, and I remember they would give me paper. But, like, if you guys have never been a psych ward, you can't have a regular pencil or pen, because it's like a weapon. So I'd have to write in crayon, and I would literally write, like, I was writing song lyrics. Anytime we had, like, free time, I would sit in the, like play area, or not play area, group, I don't know what you call it, but I would write, and I was writing out song lyrics to, like, these songs that I had in my head, which that kind of did calm me down though. So, like, that was cool. And then I remember I cried a lot too in the beginning, because I had this one delusion that my ex had, like, shot and killed himself, or he had like driven off the road or something. Like, he had just committed suicide. Like, I'm pretty sure that man is alive right now, but I'm just saying, like, at that time, I was in my head, I had lost him somehow, because before I went to the hospital, I had, like, blocked him on everything, because, like, we fell out about something. So it was like he was already, like, dead to me, but, like, in my head, I really thought he was dead, if that makes sense. I think I'm gonna title this The Twilight Zone, because that's literally what it felt like. So then let's kind of skip to, like, the middle part where I start getting better. And if y'all want to hear more of, like, my crazy, like, delusions, I can talk more, because it was a lot. Like, one more that I thought was really, like, crazy was I thought that I wasn't even in the US at the moment, like, because my room that I was in the beginning, it was like the window was kind of covered by this film, so all you could see was that there was, like, greenery, like trees, but you couldn't see nothing else. So, and while you're in a psych ward, like this particular psych ward, you couldn't go outside, so, like, I had no way of knowing, like, where I was at. And the reason we couldn't go outside at this psych ward is because it was in a hospital. So if you're in like a hospital, like an actual hospital, and not in like a behavioral center, people are gonna see, like, people that aren't working at the hospital can see you, and they really want to keep your identity like confidential, I guess. So that's why we couldn't go outside. I don't think it's to like punish us or anything. I think it was just like confidentiality. But anyway, so as I started to get better, I started participating more in like the groups they had, you know. And then they would encourage me to like not lay in bed all day, basically. So like I started walking around the like floor more. And then this is where it gets weird. So this is where I talk about the guy who started making like sexual comments to me. So he was actually an employee at this psych ward. He was a psych tech. And psych techs basically just kind of sit and watch us the whole time. Like, they help like clean up the group area. They help clean the bathrooms. Like, they keep stuff like together, basically. We can talk to them about stuff, but I think that they take notes on everything, like in their head, and they probably tell people or the doctor if we say anything like concerning. But anyway, this man, I will say that he was an attractive black man. He was definitely like in his 40s, because he told me he had 3 kids, and like one of them was a teenager, I think. So he had to be like 40, at least in my head he had to be. And he had like gray in his beard. It wasn't like a beard, it was more like a goatee, but he had some gray in it. But anyway, but no, he was cute, he was fit. He said that he used to coach at a college. I'm not gonna say the college, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm just saying he's used to coach softball at a college. That's what he told me. And now he coaches at a high school or something, which is very concerning, because if you're making comments like that to me as a mental health patient who is clearly not stable, like, and I'm gonna get to what he said. I'm just saying, like, to preface this, him telling me that he worked with young girls just made me like the ick instantly. So this is kind of how we started talking. So one day I'm like laying in my bed, and he's like banging on my door, because he had done this before. Like, he would try to like get me to like get out of bed, and I would just lay there. I think I would cuss him out too. I'd be like, leave me alone, basically. And then one day I got up because it was a lot of like commotion in the like area where we could have group at. And because I don't think at this time I was actually going to group consistently. So I went out there just to see what they were doing. I think they were playing apples to apples, because that was one of the games they let us play. But anyway, so then he sees me, and he's like, oh, do you want to walk around? Like, I'll walk with you. I'm like, sure. So I started walking with him, and he was like, well, if you want to be really active, you need to pick the pace up. So he like grabs my arm, like right on my wrist kind of, and we like are walking together like really fast now. And we do that, and he like talks to me while we're doing it. So that was like our first like interaction. Like, he didn't say anything like weird in the beginning, but then it started to get weird later. So like the next time I remember talking to him, he was just like sitting down, like watching us, and it was just him. It wasn't any like other psych techs on the floor. If they were, they weren't like sitting next to us. So it was just me and him were just having a conversation. So he starts asking me more about like why I'm in there, and like my answer all the time to the doctors or to people that asked that was just like, oh, I'm having like, or I had an episode and I try to fight my dad, basically. Like, that's basically what I would say. And then he started asking more questions like, oh, do you have a boyfriend? Or like, did you have a boyfriend? And I didn't really feel weird about that at first, because like I said, he's like in his 40s. It's like my mom's 48. So like, I'm thinking he's trying to be like a fatherly type figure. Because some people I've met in hospitals, like I talked about in the other video, the guy that was, I think he was Indian, the Indian guy who was like encouraging me and like having a conversation with me. So I thought it was going to be like more of that like vibe. Like, that's what I was getting from him at first. But then he starts asking me more like sexual questions. So he was like, oh, were you very promiscuous? And like, just, I don't even know how we got to that. Like, I don't know if I told him something that made him think that, or if he just looked at me and was like, oh, like, she looks like she does stuff. I don't know. But so that was really weird. And I think I just told him like, oh, I don't really like think I was like, I just had one boyfriend basically, like at that time. So yeah. even though I was promiscuous, but that was none of his business. But anyway, so then it gets to like the last week of me being there, and we're like talking like for like, so he was off for a full week. I think he went on vacation or something. So then he came back the last week that I was there, and this is when I was like fully aware of what was going on at this point. Like, I was working on my recovery plan. It's like this document we had to do. So like I had written it out, and then when I got home from the hospital, I typed it up. So like I even have it in my Google Docs. Like, basically it talks about like your triggers, like what can you do when you're having an episode, or like just what do you need to do health wise to make sure you don't get triggered, like just stuff like that. So I have been working on that with my they have different counselors in the psych ward that I work with that were really nice. And so yeah, I've been, you know, going to group. Like, I was doing everything I need to do to like successfully complete whatever their program was. Like, I don't really know what they expected of me other than going to groups and stuff like that, but you know what I mean, like, or even like keeping your room clean, making your bed, like eating breakfast with everybody, because they kind of want everyone to eat together, because if you don't eat, then they have to bring your food out separately, and that like takes time. So just being participative is like very important. And so he comes back from his vacation, and we're talking, and he's like, oh, like I wish I could talk to you outside of here. And I'm not dumb, so I was like, oh, like I played dumb a little bit, but I was like, I'm not dumb though. I was like, oh, like, why do you want to talk to me? And he was like, oh, I just feel like you're so mature for your age. Like, I feel like you've been through a lot, but you've also like overcome so much. Like, I feel like you'd be a positive source in my life, da 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 da. Which I don't remember everything I told him. Like, I don't know if I told him about the abortion. I don't know if I told him about sexual assault. Like, I don't know what I told him. But this is what he was telling me, because, like I said, I don't remember everything. So I don't remember how he got from me that I was very mature and that I had overcome a lot. Like, I don't remember what I told him. So I know for a fact that I did not make it okay for him to talk about sex with me, though. Like, when he brought it up, I was like not really feeding into that conversation. Like, I was like, oh, like, I just was like, no, I'm not sexually promiscuous. I should have said no. I've only been with one guy. I should have said that, but I didn't. But anyway, so then he like asked like if I wanted to, like, I don't know if he asked if I wanted his number or what. I can't remember. But basically he said he wanted to speak to me outside of there, and I was like, oh, well, I don't know if that's a good idea, because they told us the other day, which is true. So they told all of the like patients that we shouldn't be handing out our numbers to people that are other patients, because we're not trying to, like, I guess they don't want us to be reminded of where we are. So there was a few people that I met in there who left before me, and they gave me their phone number, but I ended up throwing away. So I mean, if y'all are watching somehow, if you ever see this video, like, I don't know, I'd love to connect now that I'm like mentally stable, but I think at the time they just didn't want us to be like reminded of our past there. So yeah, but so I kind of said that to him. I was like, oh, well, I don't think they want us to talk to anyone from here. And he was like, oh yeah, you're right, da da da. And then we start talking again about something else, because I had to go into the little office area, and he was sitting in there, and I had just started my period, so I needed pads, and like they keep them in like one area. I think they want to like limit how many they give out. So this was my last day there. Like, I was leaving like that afternoon. So I come in there and I'm like, oh, I need some pads or whatever. Like, and I really didn't even want to ask him because I thought it'd be weird. But anyway. And he was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, you don't have to be weird about it. Like, he was like, I have daughters or whatever. Just weird. Because like, I hope you don't want your daughters talking to grown men. But not saying I'm not an adult, but like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like an adult at that time either. But so then we're talking, and he's like, oh, you're going home today? Like, I'm like, yeah. He was like, are you excited? I'm like, yeah, I'm like ready out of here. And he was like, I understand. And then he asked me, he was like, are you gonna keep talking to your boyfriend or ex, whatever? I think I was still calling him my boyfriend at that time because I didn't really think we were done, because we like block each other and stop talking and then get back right together. So like at the time I didn't think we were done. So I think I was calling him my boyfriend. And he was like, oh, like, he was like, well, that's cool. And then he was like, I just wonder though, like, since you're dealing with like men like closer to your age, do you feel like anyone has ever hit your G-spot? And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, because to me, you know, that's like a sexual thing. Like basically, has anyone ever made you have like a good orgasm? And that's what I got from that. And he was like, oh, no, like, I don't mean that. Just crazy. He was like, no, I mean like intellectually. Like, that's how he said it too. And I was like, never heard anyone talk about like G-spot with intellectual in the same sentence. So, and I don't think I answered that question either. I literally was just like, I don't really get what you're trying to say, because I've connected to people intellectually, but I haven't connected it to G-spot. That's what I told him basically. He was like, oh, okay. I'm just saying because you're so mature. He kept going back to that, like me being mature, and like I probably would be better off with an older man. Like basically just insinuating that like he would talk to me, because he had told me before like that I was pretty, like because I was having like, so I had my microlinks at that time, but they were like looking crazy, because if you don't keep your microlinks maintenance, they just start to like the links, like right now my hair's looking kind of crazy because I need to wash it again and I need to re-flat iron it. But and I had burgundy like highlights in it too, so it just looked like, I'm gonna insert a picture of that lady from I think it was Holiday Heart. That's literally what my hair was looking like. Like, I'm not even joking. So then before he got back from his vacation though, like I said, he had went on vacation. This one like social worker, she was really sweet. Shout out to her. I can't even remember her name. I'm not even gonna say her name anyway, but shout out to her. She like put my hair, she split it in like a middle part, and she French braided it all and put it into like 2 little cute buns for me from my last week there, because I had to like meet with the court, which I didn't talk about this. So since I was making like comments about shooting and guns and crazy stuff, it's not funny, but it's kind of funny now. So they put me on a 1-year like type of like court thing, so I can't, or from that point I couldn't own a gun for a year. I don't know now what would happen like if I try to get a gun, but so like I had to meet with the court throughout the time that I was there to like, they would talk about my progress and stuff like that. So she wanted me to look presentable, so that's why she did my hair. So then when he saw me with my hair done, he was like, oh, like, you look so pretty, like, da-da-da, like complimenting me, all this. And he was like, I wish I could be your trainer, because I had told him I want to lose weight. Because at that time, I was probably about the same weight that I am now. Like, I haven't really lost weight. Well, I did lose weight when I got out of there, but then I kind of gained it back, so yeah. But anyway, but yeah, he just kept insinuating that he wanted to continue this, like, friendship, relationship, whatever. And I was just, like, shutting it down every time. But yeah, the G-spot comment really, like, stuck with me. Like, I don't think I'll ever forget that, because it was just like, how are you an employee at a hospital for psych patients and you're flirting with me and probably with other, like, girls or women there? Which I was on the adult psych ward, so everyone was above 18. But like, there was this other girl there, which I'm gonna go tell a story about her too, like in a different video, maybe when I do like another Get Ready With Me. But she was really pretty. She was Dominican, but she had 3 kids and she was like 27. And he didn't really like, I don't think he was trying to get with her, because she said she had a husband. Like, one time her husband came and visited. So like, speaking of visitors, my parents did come visit me while I was there, and I did talk to my best friend Brooke on the phone while I was there. But other than that, they didn't really encourage outside communication either. So yeah, but yeah, so she was really pretty, and he would flirt with her too, because she had like a nice body basically. Like, for her to have 3 kids, he was like always like, oh, like, your body looks so good, because she was like a fitness trainer. She claimed that she had like 50,000 Instagram followers or something. I don't know. I never saw her Instagram because I didn't have a phone at that time. But yeah, it was just bizarre. Like, and I said that I was gonna talk about how I am now, like from then to now, but I'm already at 40 minutes. So I think I'll just do that in another video, and I'll also do clarification on different things that I feel like need to be talked about a little bit more. But I'll just say now that after that experience, I have not been back to a behavioral hospital or a psych ward or anything. I have not tried to hurt myself. I have not gotten violent with anyone. I've been good. Like the medicine, I'm on different medicine now because I'm actually taking bipolar medication and not just anxiety and depression. So that really makes a big difference too. And I can definitely do a video about why it's important to know your diagnosis, because that's what was my problem. I didn't know my diagnosis. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna stop there. We didn't really get to the aftermath of that experience, but I can talk about that more. Just know that I'm good now. Everything has fallen into place. Like I said, I got my master's. I'm interviewing for a position in the career that I want in finance. I'm not really gonna talk about that until I like know for a fact that it's gonna happen. I might not even talk about it then because I don't want to jinx anything. But yeah, God has really blessed me, and I'm just so thankful that I'm like comfortable now to be able to share my story and like not be afraid to post or like to say what I'm thinking. And I'm glad that you guys have come along this journey with me. I hope you guys continue to watch my videos. So please like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever you need to do. And just let me know what you guys are thinking. Like, what do you feel? Like, we're coming on the end of my first month of doing YouTube. So I'd really love to know. Thank you guys. Bye.